From the Owens Student Media Center and heard on Outcast OCCR, Owens Community College Radio, it's Dennis Hobson and Dion Thompson. Dennis and Dion, your hosts for The Double D Show. The Double D Show. Along with co-host Eben Corin. The Double D Show. The Double D Show.
Welcome to The Double D Show. This is Dennis Hobson, the great Dennis Hobson.
I don't know about
as
that.
you know him. And my name is Dion Thompson. We got a great show for you guys today. We're excited to have a young lady who has been in the fitness industry for over 20 years. And it looks really great, as you guys will be able to see on the YouTube. But anyway, Miss Tina Miller, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you on here, Miss Miller.
I
And
appreciate it.
actually, I've had the privilege of going to the Box House, and we're going to let her explain a little bit about what the Box House is all about. But I've had that opportunity to go for several lessons, and I've had a great time. And we want you to talk a little bit about the Box House.
I'll be glad to. Would you like me to do that now?
Yes.
All right. So Box House is boxing-inspired, music-driven, instructor-led group fitness, and we have a limited amount of bags. We do not have traditional sand-filled heavy bags. We have water-filled bags. They are 190 pounds at capacity, and that allows for punches to be absorbed. It reduces the risk of injury. It provides absorption to the joints as opposed to compression of the joints. It encourages good form because people want to punch a bag that feels good instead of feeling like they're punching a brick wall. So, you know, they're more encouraged to execute fully. And as a result, we have awesome music. We have concert speakers. You turn the lights off, the energy changes. People become super confident, or they either become less insecure. Especially when you're walking into something you've never done before. And this was something no one had ever done before, but there's some people who never worked out before in their life, which is a testimony to what we're doing because, you know, these are people who had injuries. They had, you know, illnesses or whatever. And for whatever reason, they hadn't found something they enjoyed or felt comfortable doing. And walking through the doors of Box House, they were able to find something that they could adapt to instantly because it requires no level of skill. I explain the 6 punches to everyone. I provide form and instruction, modifications on the spot, feedback and encouragement. I encourage everyone to use everyone else's name by using their name myself. So if I get to know someone and I'm using their name, it builds community and accountability because when people know your name, they're wondering where you were when you weren't here yesterday. So they're like, hey, Samantha, and they didn't know you 2 days ago, but they know you now. And so that's it. It's inclusivity, encouragement. We're building confidence, and we're creating healthier emotionally and physically.
Well, Tina, I think that's a good point because I think what you find a lot with fitness, a lot of people, they're kind of, if they're not in the best of shape, they don't want to go. And this is the weirdest concept to me. You'll have people say, I have to get in shape first.
Oh,
and
I
I'm
hear
sure
that
you've
from
heard
my own
that.
family. I'm like,
So,
guys, really? You've been saying that since I've been born.
yeah, can you tell people, like, it's really, a fitness goal has to be personal. It's not about what you look like. That's why you
Correct.
go to see someone like yourself.
Correct. And then you have to know your own body type and what you're capable of. And have you ever looked like the vision in your head? So you have to go back to where were you when you weren't trying to do anything? That is your body's natural state. That is your steady state. That is what your body wants to be at and is comfortable being at as far as your habits match up with that physical body. So if you're saying you want to look a certain way, probably not going to happen if you never looked like that in your life before. So the longer you go without activity, the farther you will be from getting to where you once were, as far as you know, your cardiovascular capability, your flexibility, your strength. And people need to come in here with an open mind and realize that we can improve you from today, but you need to have goals that are realistic.
Well, can I ask you something? So if a person, when they first come through the doors, what do? You do an assessment or how? Like, what's the process?
Okay, so Dion, what I needed to do in order to make things super efficient and to separate myself from the competition was first develop an app that would be super intuitive where people could buy that vehicle, determine which classes they want to come to, pay for their classes in advance, schedule them so they're accountable for that.
Okay.
They do not have any pressure to attend just because they schedule. They can cancel or rebook whatever they want to. The app allows them to contact me. It allows them to receive confirmation text from Box House,
Oh, wow.
whether or not they're still interested in attending the class that they have on their calendar. So it comes alongside, and it also serves as a vehicle for exclusivity. People like to feel like that's their thing. This is my bag. That's my time slot. I'm comfortable going at this time. I'm building my schedule around my workout, you know. So that's what's different is prior to even walking in the door, I've already had a conversation with many of these people because it's brand new.
Oh, that's nice.
So they're inboxing me and texting me and asking me what to expect.
Okay.
And most people spend a lot of time doing that in order to avoid having to do it at all. So they come up with reasons why they shouldn't the more information they get because they're just don't have confidence. And so I tell them on the inbox, hey, I've never met you, but you can't fail at something you've never tried.
Right.
So just come on in. Observe if you like. But I don't assess anyone.
Yeah,
No.
and I think the big thing, like I touched on earlier, I've been to several of your classes,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, again, at 53 years old, I do work out. I'm not a couch potato. Let's put it that way. I do work out.
Yeah.
But what do you think the difference is between the whole boxing workout versus a person lifting weights?
Because boxing requires you to keep your core isolated, isometrically held the entire time, and it requires good form. You can't have bad boxing form. There's no this'll do kind of boxing form. It uses the entire body. The legs provide the foundation. Your core provides the strength and mobility. It calls upon every other muscle. You're extending your limbs and extremities. You're, trying to pace your breathing with your execution. It's something you have to constantly keep your mind on at first, but then the more you do it, it becomes intuitive. And then the cardiovascular benefits of boxing, it only takes really 20 minutes of boxing compared to maybe 25 minutes of running, and you're burning 10 calories per minute. It's amazing. It is quite efficient compared to swimming and running. It's 1 calorie less per minute of efficiency in calorie burning. So, I mean, if you can do it, you got to start somewhere. You don't need to come in there knowing how to fight or anything. We have gloves, we provide the bag and the instruction and the support. And then after that, it's just about how much better you get every time. I always say, and I've said for decades, today's workout is a down payment on the next. So it's not coming in knowing everything or being ready even, but having that attitude, because that's 90%, and then we'll fill in the other 10.
I think that's great. Like, where are you located? 'Cause
We're at the apex of Monroe and Sylvania. So we're in the Marketplace shops across from Notre Dame
Okay.
Academy, and we're east of the mall. So if you're
West
headed
Toledo,
out.
guys.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Best
And we're
place.
accessible from anywhere, so no excuses. You can get to me from east, south, northwest.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd love to have you. Yeah, we're easy to get to.
Can I ask, so you've been personal training for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What has that been like for you?
Oh, super, because I've always had a different approach than most. I've always wanted quality over quantity, but somehow when you seek quality and you exude that, you get quantity. Like, people want that, so they show up and they
point.
tell their friends. And so my following is big, and I took a break from fitness a couple times. And they don't allow you to do that when they like you. So constantly, just trying to reinvent things. And I never really wanted a studio, Dion. It kind of happened by accident, and it's only because people were saying they wanted something different, they missed me really was. So I said, I can't come in and do the same thing that's being done. Well, let me figure it out. So I got into boxing because I broke my leg and I couldn't run anymore. So I decided, okay, what is just as efficient? I don't want to do workout in a chair, lifting weights or whatever. I don't want to do that little wheel thing. And then I got enamored with boxing. And so I just got a bag, hung it in my basement, sat in my chair with a broken leg, and continued to build myself and maintain cardiovascularly, and just tightened up everything by sitting. I hadn't lifted one weight, nor had I ran. I hadn't jumped, squatted, nothing.
Yeah,
and
that's
this was over
crazy.
6 months.
Well, good, good. I know. People should also know too. I mean, the name of it is the Box House.
Correct.
And people might think of it just being you punching a bag, but you also do a lot of core work.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
you're going to get into yoga.
Yes, we will.
So you're kind of branching off. You're not just, people aren't just coming to just box.
Correct. So there are other types of fitness facilities like mine, but they're on the East Coast, and I was inspired by them. However, they only focus really on the show up and box until the timer's up kind of modality. Whereas with Box House, I have that as well, and I also have incorporated strength and flexibility. So every day is a different modality. So there's core box, there's total body box. There's we're using all kinds of apparatus. We're speeding it up, slowing it down, creating different intensities. So it is variable every day.
I like that because in our city, there is, I run a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym.
I know
so
you do.
It's,
I'm aware.
Well, I'm trying to recruit you right now.
Oh my gosh,
No,
okay.
No, but there's so many different fitness outlets,
Mm.
and I think yours is very unique in that, because one of the things that when you're talking about boxing that I didn't like about hitting, like you say about the wrist, hitting the sandbag, I think that bag that you just talked about, it's the first time I ever heard about it.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
think that's outstanding. That concept right there to me is like, it just blew me away. So, I'm sure you're going to be getting more and more people. I mean, we're
It-
trying to get the
it's-
pretty
it's-
boy
it's-
right here to hit something.
Well, he has hit a couple times.
I
I won't say
hit
his
a couple.
form is.
Tell him,
I won't say
Tina.
your form is pretty, but we'll get there.
Okay.
It's
okay.
not. You said
Attitude,
it's not
attitude.
pretty, or it's not.
It
pretty.
could be
It's not like a
prettier.
jump shot
I don't
right
want to
here.
ever say
I,
it's
I,
not
I think
pretty.
what I do is pace myself, but it's one thing that I do
think
know
so.
is that I'm not afraid to get in any type of gym and work out.
Yeah.
You know,
We
I
know that
think people
about
need
you.
to understand that being healthy is a good thing.
It's important.
It's important. I mean, it helps you live longer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Adds life
It's
to your
important.
years.
Absolutely, and I think that's key too. As we get older, you know, I think that's very important because I work out at Fitness 19, and I'll be honest, I don't see as many older people. Well, I see a little bit more now, but you know, I think something like what you do, the exclusivity of it, the fact that you can go in, you know, and get your own workout. A lot of people don't like to go to a big gym. I mean, for whatever reason, they get nervous about it, but what you're doing is good. I'm going to show up at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah, I'm gonna
so.
try.
We hope
I
so.
got.
Don't leave me
He
by
always
myself.
can
Don't leave
pick.
me by myself. Don't leave me
Yeah,
by
I'm gonna
myself.
go get him.
I love
But
it.
actually,
No
she has a
pressure.
great crowd. She has
Good.
a great
And they're
crowd
quite
that comes.
diverse
Yeah,
in
yeah,
age
exactly.
and
So,
everything.
how many bags do you have in
We
there?
have 24, and that's another reason why we have the app, because we can't have 25 people showing up and fighting for real.
Right.
So, yeah, 24.
Real quick, can you tell us the app? How do we access that?
The app is BXHS. It's the phonetic of Box House, so BXHS, and you can locate it in Google Play or the App Store.
That
on
sounds
iOS
good.
It's very
platform.
user friendly too.
Quite.
I have it on my
Absolutely.
Well, I
phone.
tell you what, you know, we'll be back with more.
Yeah, if you guys want to join the conversation, check us out on the Facebook page, Owens Student Media Center, or tweet at us at Owens OCCR. Also, if you have questions for Tina, you can check out their Facebook page at Box House or their Instagram page at Box House Toledo. Thanks, guys.
What do today's modern manufacturing jobs look like?
Innovative.
High tech.
And what does it take to land STEM jobs like these? A degree from Owens. Your success starts here. Owens Community College.
Chris Domine is a husband and a father. Chris is an athlete. Chris is even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris was facing a very different story because his kidneys were failing.
Basically, the doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant and if you don't do dialysis, you are going to die.
Fortunately, Chris received a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor.
You know, your well-being changes, you know, from loss of hope to better times ahead.
More than 100 million people in America are registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. People of every age and ethnicity, because they believe it's the right thing to do. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
You recycle, right?
But let's face it, recycling's confusing. We have a solution.
Standardized labels, they help people recycle more, and they help people recycle right. Let's recycle across America, and let's recycle right.
To learn more, visit letsrecycleright.org.
How you define success is really up to you.
For me, it's helping to make the world run.
Huh, that's one way.
Or making a living as an artist.
And that's another.
Hiring someone out of college with the right skill set.
Graduating, and without all that college debt.
You're on a roll.
Living my dreams.
Now that's success. Your success starts here. Owens Community College.
Welcome back to the Double D Show, guys. I'm your co-host, Evan Corin. Today we're joined by Tina Miller. She is the owner, program developer, and lead instructor at Box House Toledo. You can check her out on the Facebook page or their Instagram page at Box House Toledo. And if you want to join the conversation with us, join our Twitter page at Owens OCCR or send us a message on Facebook at our Owens Student Media Center page. So Tina, quick question.
Yeah.
These workouts, you mentioned in our first segment that you got inspired a little bit by what they were doing on the East Coast.
Correct, yes.
So did you kind of mirror what they were doing out there, or did you turn it into your own program?
Well, I've been at another gym teaching a similar kind of like a circuit, And I was seeing that the people weren't doing things the way they should have been done. And there were a lot of, there was a lot of improper form, which would then lead to injury, which would then halt your progress, right? So instead of me, since it wasn't my gym, making that point, I decided to change my format to bag work and abs, because it requires no equipment, really just requires, you know, your ability to move from standing to sitting, and you know, your familiarity with the bag or your willingness to hit it. So we did that because it required way less skill set, and it became one of the most popular classes. And I only taught an hour out of the 44 classes that, you know, at that place per week. A super popular format. Because it is inclusive. It doesn't say you need to know how to do this before you walk in. It doesn't say move faster. It doesn't say lift that. It doesn't say pick that up and put that over there. It doesn't say jump up on that thing. It doesn't say you're too tall, you're too short, you're too slow, you're too fast. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't exclude anyone. So.
No, because I know for a fact, and I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
off,
it's okay.
But there are people
I'm
like
excited.
they'll say, you know, the box jumps.
Correct.
I like certain programs, but I can't do the box jumps, and I
Correct.
feel like if I can't do those, I'm embarrassed or I don't want to come back. So I think, you know, you have high intensity, low impact. It's almost like a pull workout without the pull, sounds like, because and anybody can do it.
Yes, and the thing about, you know, doing things in a setting where they're being done by everyone is when you know it's not right for you or you're not comfortable, you would still do it. And I was seeing a lot of that, and so it inspired me beyond, and I wanted to do something where I had control of the message I was sending and the ability to come alongside people as opposed to just, you know, quantity. I wanted quality, and I wanted people to receive what I was trying to tell them as opposed to feeling pressured by time or anything else. So Box House was born out of my desire to do that, but I wasn't going to do it immediately. My husband was watching Good Morning America one day, and he knew that I hated the sandbag. I thought, I need to do something, but it has to be different than what's being done in my hands. And so he said, hey, I just saw this gym in New York. They're using these bags filled with water. You should check it out. And I saw those and I said, okay, then we can do it. Because if it wasn't for those bags, Box House would not exist. It wouldn't matter my expertise. It wouldn't matter how much I wanted to. If it wasn't for those apparatus, I knew that people could still fail at that, and I didn't want to be. So the bags are why Box House exists, and I'm very thankful. We have decided that a limited amount of bags is best. It allows me to stay connected with my people. It allows me to get to know them. It allows them to feel confident. It allows them to have the space they need to function. It is conducive to being safe and effective, because that's primary when you're working out, as opposed to just hurrying up and getting it done or cramming as many people in a space as you can. So even though it's a group, everyone has the individual attention from me. The way our layout is, I can see everyone, even in the dark. They can see me.
Oh yeah, talk about real quick. Like it's kind of, we were talking about it off the air. How is, like, can you paint the pictures? That's a cool format. You guys,
so our slogan is we're Fight Club meets nightclub. So we're in the dark, really. And I have concert speakers. Like, I don't have regular speakers. They are concert speakers, ladies and gentlemen, because music is the more important part. I need people to get lost in either the music or the environment. I don't want the lights to be a hindrance to people feeling insecure. I want them to, they can walk in insecure, but they don't want that music starts and those lights go down. So we say, you know, gloves up, lights off, and we get to work. And, you know, the bags are 3 feet wide by 21 inches, so it's not like you can see who's in front of you. No one's looking at you, and the person behind you isn't looking at you. So you just have the whole, you feel like you're in the room alone, but you know you have the encouragement of the group. And of course, me professionally providing instruction throughout. And I'm physically leading every class.
You
me
know,
and my team.
You know what, Tina, you talk about the whole technique piece. Is that something that you had to learn?
Yeah, I trained at International Boxing Club. So after I hurt myself and was trying to figure it out on my own, there was a place in Toledo, but they kind of closed, and I was really looking forward to learning more from them. And then I found IBC, which is in the north end of town. And Coach Harry is amazing, and he has trained and does train fighters. He works with kids in the inner city. They also work with Parkinson's individuals, people stricken with that disease as well, to include their coordination and strength. So I went there and did some bag work, mitt work, did a few classes, and decided that I was proficient enough to, you know, provide this as a service to others, and I felt confident in my abilities. People trusted me with that, combining that with my years of teaching spinning and step and everything else. And what I loved about spinning was that the room was dark. So I pulled that into what I'm doing now. What I loved about step was the choreography. So we have actual combos that seamlessly weave into one and then the other for the whole 45 minutes.
Well, I think she works hard. She works very hard.
Yeah.
Actually,
I love what I do.
Actually, when I talked to her about being on the show, she told me that she didn't have a voice. But you sound good.
I know.
You sound good. You sound really
I
good.
have
You she sounds good.
Look, if I'm shutting up most of the time, you know it's interesting. I can't even keep my mouth shut on these things.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
But you have long days. You have very long days.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't you let everybody know how many different sessions you offer each day?
We start at 5 a.m. and we start at 5 a.m. I start at 3:50. So 5 a.m. we have a class. I have a break. I do PT between 6 and 8:30, and then at 9:15 we have another session. We have another one at 6:15 and again at 7. So yeah, we have 4. That's plenty. It is efficient. Our app tells us who's coming. We know ahead of time. I can look at people. I've gotten to know what they're good at or what they need to improve upon. So I can see who's in the class and say, okay, well, I'm going to tweak these things a little bit. I can see if there's new people, so I can make sure I take extra time ahead, and make sure that I've contacted them to let them know, hey, show up a little early so I can get you gloved up. I can show you to a bag that's appropriate for you, so you can get comfortable in the environment, because nobody wants to walk in and be totally not attended to at all, and it gets hectic the closer to class time it gets. So. The app allows me to foresee, and that's how I get to connect early on, and people get drawn in and they start to commit right away.
Now, outside activity, what you do daily, do you talk to your clients about diet?
Absolutely.
How important is diet?
Now, I'm not a dietitian, nor am I a doctor. However, there are things that we have to know as certified personal trainers. So we have to know chemistry, you have to know basic anatomy and physiology, we have to know injury prevention, special populations. It is not something to be taken lightly. So when someone calls themselves a trainer, it's like if you're a doctor and someone else likes to put Band-Aids on their dolls, they're a doctor too? No. You need to actually go through and become, do what it takes to have practice, put yourself in these situations, obtain certifications that are appropriate for what you're doing. And also maintain your education. So that doesn't mean get certified once and then just not ever again revisit. Be continually educated in what we're doing, because it changes nonstop, as do people. So when I got certified 20 years ago, the main focus was it was injury prevention. Now it's obesity, and now it's high blood pressure. It's more of those internal things that we don't see, that people are looking to improve through exercise as opposed to appearance. So it's a different focus now. And if you're not a certified person who's required to recertify, you don't realize that. What we do is a certified personal trainer doesn't say to their client, hey, what do you want to improve? What a certified personal trainer does is figure out what your weaknesses are and then strengthen those, because then you'll be overall balanced, instead of saying, hey, you want to work on your arms today? Or someone comes in and says, hey, I want this. And we can't operate like that. So knowing the difference between who you're working with and paying is a big difference in a way you will achieve your goals.
I'm glad you mentioned that certified piece, because I think a lot of
we
people
talk about it.
We talk about it all the time. There are a lot of all these trainers popping up, and I always tell people, Google, do a background check on who you're working with.
Correct.
Somebody like yourself, a professional, really understands it. You're going to get better results if because you've probably, in your 20 years, I'm sure you've seen all types walk through doors. You've probably seen a lot of different transformations. So you have experience, and I think that's key too in what you do.
And attitude is a lot of it, because a lot of people aren't necessarily looking to change their body. They're looking to change, like I said, they're trying to get off their medication, rehabilitating. It's variable. So I'm there to objectify and figure out what the plan is and provide that for them, so they can follow it when they're not with me. It's not about just the time they spend with me. It's about outside of with the workout. What are you doing? So,
you know what I think, and or we all might know, being an athlete, this stuff is so important. What is the youngest age that you will take? What's the youngest age group you take?
We've had people bring their children in who, if they decide their kids are mature enough to actually hang in there, I'll allow it. So 6, I think, was the youngest we had. 12 in my mind is ideal. My son is 10, he could do it. But the importance is making sure that everybody who wants to box and pays to box can. So if we have 24 bags, I need to make sure, if you're bringing your child, which I do encourage, that your child is going to not take that bag for granted, not box for 5 minutes and then go want to play on their iPad.
I.e., she is not a babysitter.
Correct,
okay?
we are not. And actually, our policy
I'm going to say that, I understand it.
Our policy is no children. However, if your child is able to sit, and you tell me that ahead of time, and then I'll hold it against you if it's not true. But so that'll be the last time. But yeah, children are definitely allowed if they're able to sustain.
I just think it's good, if you play a sport, things outside of that sport, the whole conditioning piece.
Oh, it's absolutely the best, one of the best cardiovascular conditioning, cross-conditioning sports, and it's low risk, low injury. So for someone who is trying to protect themselves, I mean, we have NFL players come in and train with us, and so they understand the importance of just increasing their cardiovascular capacity and building endurance so that it lends to the sport that they're actually doing. It isn't about the lifting, it isn't about the strength at that point, it's about being able to hang in there, which is what endurance is. So you got to run the whole field with the ball.
Is it a per class or monthly?
We have an intro special that I decided was that because I want people to see success, and I know people get busy, so I know people do the intro month. I decided to do 42 days, which is 6 weeks, so it's $40 for 40 days, and then I give them 2 extra days. And during that point, if you don't see that you're able to commit or don't find it enjoyable, you really haven't wasted but 75 cents a day.
75 cents a day.
Yeah, because I'm an accountant too.
Tina, we want to thank you so much. If you guys want any more information, Tina, how do we get in touch with you really quick?
You can contact me at Facebook. I'm just Tina Miller, not Tina #SoBlessedMiller or anything like that. So Tina Miller on Facebook. It's also Box House Toledo on Instagram, and yeah, those are the best ways to contact me. And through the app, BXHS.
Definitely. And if you guys have questions for us, check us out on Twitter or on Facebook at Owens Student Media Center, or tweet us at OwensOCCR. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
The Double D Show. The Double D Show.